We're going to talk about the 5 P's of entrepreneurial prosperity. When Ken Blanchard and I wrote the 1 Minute Entrepreneur, our goal was to be able to share information which an entrepreneur or a would-be entrepreneur or a simple independent contractor out there on his own trying to be his or her best could gain from, profit from, and go to the next level with. So the first P is principles. What are the principles you believe in? Number 1, do you have a good win-win approach with every relationship you enter, every relationship you are a part of in your business enterprise? I think that's critically important. We need to believe in the solid principles that'll make a difference. Jim Newton wrote a wonderful book years ago entitled Uncommon Friends. He talked about his personal relationship with Thomas Edison and Henry Ford and Harvey Firestone and Charles Lindbergh and the greats of his era, and he had the opportunity to be the personal confidant of all of them. In Jim Newton's book, my favorite line was the line, he said, just remember what Thomas Edison said, what's right is more important than who is right. Maintaining the principles of integrity and doing right and understanding right from wrong and going for the proper approaches can make all the difference in the world. I think another principle we should believe in, if you're comfortable with this one, is seek broad knowledge. Don't be so targeted in your perspective about your business enterprise that you don't pay attention to the peripheral areas that can be a big difference maker. So seek broad knowledge. It's been said that one of the biggest mistakes many entrepreneurs make is they're good at really one thing over here, and maybe it's manufacturing, or maybe it's inventing a device, or maybe it's something else, but many times it's at the exclusion of other critical skills. So have a broad approach in what you know, what you believe. Speaking of what you believe, your belief system is a critical part of the principles you believe in. Your belief system determines your behavior. The premises that you have embraced about running your business, the philosophies you believe in, be clear about those, be clarified, and have those win-win relationships in place to make a difference. Cavett Robert had a great definition of character he articulated a few years ago. He said, character is the ability to carry out a resolution long after the mood in which you made it has left you. It's about follow-through. Do the right things. That's the first thing. Be principled. Number 2 is priorities. Are you a good goal setter? It's what priorities must be based on. We've got to have clear visions and solid goals if we're going to be able to prioritize what we're going to be doing. And I think one of our goals should be that we make sure that training is a key element of being able to establish priorities and go after them in a vigorous and positive manner. And if we'll do that, we'll be very, very good in creating an organization or getting the right people around us to get the job done that we know is a part of our prioritization process. Also, coaching. Coaching is so critical today because you need to get in place the right skill sets with everybody who is a part of your team. And coaching is helping people develop the habits which must be developed and utilized and implemented to be successful. And also in prioritizations, we got to make sure that we've got our daily task list in place. If we got our daily task list in place, we're going to go after the important things and the most highly productive opportunities first and foremost. That'll help us zero in on what to do and when to do it. Always be asking yourself the question, what is the thing I should do now for maximum productivity and the reaching of the goals that have been set? The third P is passion. Again, the visions and goals are in place now. You've got them in writing. They're clarified, and that's a very good thing because until that clarification process takes place, we tend not to be nearly passionate enough. If your passion is in place, if your fire in the belly is there, you're going to be a high-energy individual. You're going to have a strong work ethic. That is predictable. You'll be one who will persevere. I believe in the premise that you never lose until you give up. And if you never give up, you're never going to lose. Just keep on keeping on. Now, what is fire in the belly anyway? It's the excitement that we feel from within, based on the facts that we have clarified those goals and we know what we're going for. Now, where does fire in the belly come from? I think everybody has 2 self-images. We have a present self-image and a projected self-image. If someone's present self-image is right here, but their projected self-image as they look into the future is up here, that's good. The deviation between one's present and projected self-image is the source of the fire in the belly. It's when those people have a present self-image here and a projected self-image that's right here with it, with no deviation, that we see sadly unproductive individuals. The fourth P is what we call profit. You got to preserve capital as an entrepreneur. You've probably heard the old cliche that when you start a new business or a new enterprise of some type, it's going to probably take twice as much money as you thought and probably going to take twice as much time as you had envisioned. So let's make sure we're in a preservation process there. Now, there are three ways you can make more money. Well, one way is you can sell more. You can increase revenues. Number two is you can have fewer expenses. So watch the expenses. The third thing is do a good job of doing both. Now, you can think about the top line or you can think about the bottom line. There's some people who say, boy, you got to watch that bottom line. You got to cut every expense you can. And there's some people who overdo that. And they cut and slice and slice. They get into the bone, and all of a sudden they have weakened the infrastructure of their organization. I contend, sure, you got to watch that bottom line, but also be watching that top line. Because I am convinced that very few organizations have any problems that more sales won't solve. Go for a vigorous top line. Don't be so focused on cutting, slashing that you overlook the opportunities of the marketplace. Ken Blanchard has a great line I learned from him when we were writing the book. He said, profit is the applause you get from your customers for a job well done. Great perspective. The fifth P is people. When we think about people, we know the importance of our team. You know, companies are not just bricks and mortar. Far more important than any bricks and mortar are the team members who are making things happen there. And if we honor our team members, and let's treat them as internal customers, and let's treat them with great respect, let's work well together, let's don't ever under-communicate, always over-communicate when you can, always provide the training and the coaching that they need, and give them what they require to be successful, and you're going to do a good job of growing your business by focusing on your people. But every now and then there's a problem. How many of you have ever found yourself working with a weirdo? Hey, sometimes it happens. What's the definition of a weirdo? Somebody who's different from you. Well, it can be frustrating, but once in a while you're working with somebody and you have difficulty figuring out where they're coming from, and you'd almost like to stick a screwdriver in their ear and reprogram their brain. Well, that's not practical. What is practical is let's learn our people skills. Let's make sure that we're going to do everything in our power to be adaptable in our behavioral process. You can't change the behavior of another person, but you can alter your behavior to be more adaptable in dealing with them. Now, there are three categories of customers you'll be dealing with as an entrepreneur. One is the external customer. You got to keep them happy. You know, Dr. Peter Drucker had a great line. He said, the purpose of a business is to attract and retain customers. Now, the attracting, hey, that's that top line. That's going after sales. Sales and marketing, you betcha. Critically important. The retaining is about service. And we've got to give our customers great service. But then we have another category we call internal customers, and those are the team members referred to earlier. Let's treat them with respect and treat them like customers. Let's all be resources to each other. Then there's a third type of customer, which I call the fraternal customer. The fraternal customer is anybody who's a member of your network. You hear a lot today about networking and the importance of getting out there and making contacts and having alliance and fraternizing with people with whom you can develop a business relationship. Awfully important. Pay careful attention to the people in your business life. I hope these 5 P's of entrepreneurial excellence and prosperity are helpful to you. Best of luck in your entrepreneurial endeavors.